Jack Morris had never planned to become famous, powerful, or important. He only wanted enough credits to keep flying and enough quiet days to forget old memories. That was why he accepted the salvage contract without asking too many questions. The job was simple on paper. Inspect an abandoned Galactic cruiser, strip usable parts, log the wreck, then leave. The cruiser drifted alone at the edge of a dead system. No planets moved around the old star. No trade lanes passed nearby. Even the background radiation felt wrong, like the system itself wanted to be forgotten. Most alien crews refused to come here. Some said the ship was cursed. Others said it was dangerous. Jack did not believe in curses. He believed in bad engines, bad deals, and bad luck. His small salvage ship moved slowly toward the massive hull. The cruiser was enormous, far larger than anything modern fleets used. Its outer armor was dark and scarred, marked by weapons fire from a war no one remembered clearly. Long cracks ran along its surface, but the structure still held together. Power lights were dark. No signals came from it. Inside the salvage ship, Clara Evans leaned forward in her seat. She watched the sensor screen with careful eyes. Clara was quiet most of the time, but when machines were involved, she noticed everything. "The readings are strange," she said. "Not dangerous, just strange. I see inactive systems everywhere, but none of them are fully dead." Ben Carter sat at the pilot controls. He was younger than Jack and far more optimistic. "That just means more parts for us," Ben said with a grin. "Old ships like this are full of rare metals." Jack did not smile. He studied the cruiser through the forward window. "Ships don't stay intact this long without a reason," he said. "Stay sharp." They docked at a damaged hangar bay. The metal groaned as seals connected. The bay doors were partly torn open, frozen in place by time and impact damage. Inside, darkness waited. When the airlock opened, the first thing Jack noticed was the silence. No hum of backup systems, no air movement, just stillness. Their suit lights cut thin paths through the dark. "Atmosphere is thin but stable," Clara said after checking her scanner. "Old filters, very old, but they're still working somehow." Jack stepped inside first. His boots touched the deck with a dull sound. Dust floated in the air, moving slowly like it had forgotten how to fall. This ship was not built by any of the current galactic powers. Jack could tell that at once. The design was different. The corridors were wider. The walls were thick. Everything felt heavy, solid, and direct. As they moved deeper into the hangar, Clara paused. "Jack," she said quietly, "the ship just registered our presence." Jack stopped. "What do you mean?" "I mean," Clara said, her voice careful, "that internal sensors activated the moment you stepped off the ramp. Not before, not when we docked, only when a human entered." Ben laughed nervously. "You're saying the ship knows we're human." "I'm saying it was waiting," Clara replied. They moved into the main corridor. Emergency lights flickered on one by one, following their path. The glow was soft and white, not harsh or alarming. It felt almost polite. Jack swallowed. He had boarded many wrecks before. None of them had ever reacted like this. As they walked, screens along the walls powered up. Most showed static or broken images. One screen near a junction flickered, then stabilized. Simple symbols appeared, followed by a short line of text in clear, basic galactic language. "Welcome back." Ben stared at it. "Back from where?" Clara's hands shook slightly as she scanned the display. "This language is old, very old, but the translation layer is adjusting to modern standards." Jack felt a strange pressure in his chest. Not fear, not excitement, something heavier. They reached a central control room. The doors slid open without resistance. Inside, consoles lined the walls in a circular pattern. The center held a raised platform, empty and dark. Clara approached a console. "Permission levels are opening automatically," she said. "I'm not bypassing anything. The ship is granting access." "To you?" Jack asked. "To all of us," Clara replied, "but you have the highest priority." Jack frowned. "Why me?" Before Clara could answer, the lights brightened. The platform in the center activated, projecting a faint outline of a human figure. It was incomplete, flickering, but clearly human. Its voice was calm and steady. "Primary human presence confirmed," it said. "Commander-level access available." Ben stepped back. "Commander, Jack, you didn't tell me you stole a warship." Jack shook his head slowly. "I didn't even know this ship existed." The projection turned slightly toward Jack. Identity recognized, it said. Genetic markers match baseline human template. Authorization granted. Jack felt the deck vibrate beneath his feet. Far below, systems awakened, not all at once but carefully, like something stretching after a long sleep. "What are you?" Jack asked. "This unit is the Caretaker Intelligence," the projection replied. "This vessel is designated a galactic cruiser under human origin." Clara's breath caught. Human origin. That's impossible. Humans were never part of the early galactic expansion. Incorrect, the intelligence said gently. Humans withdrew. Jack's mind raced. Withdrew from what? From observation, it answered. From judgment, from intervention. Screens around the room lit up, showing star maps, timelines, and old conflict markers. Jack recognized none of the names. The dates stretched back thousands of years. Ben whispered, "We're standing on a ghost." This vessel was never meant to fight openly, the intelligence continued. It was meant to watch, to learn, to protect humanity without revealing itself. Clara stepped closer to the central platform. Then why was it abandoned? It was not abandoned, the intelligence said. It was placed in waiting state after loss of external human contact. Jack felt a chill. "You were waiting for us." "For any human," the intelligence replied. "You arrived." Alarms sounded suddenly, sharp and loud. Jumped. "External ships," he shouted. "Alien patrols, they must have detected the activation spike." Jack looked at the intelligence. "Can we leave?" The projection paused. "Yes, but the vessel will not permit capture." "What does that mean?" Ben asked. Outside the cruiser, alien patrol ships moved into formation. Weapons charged. They broadcast demands for identification and immediate withdrawal. Inside, the cruiser responded by powering up defensive fields. No weapons fired. No threats were sent. Base itself seemed to bend slightly around the hull. Alien scanners failed. Targeting systems lost lock. One patrol ship drifted off course as if pushed by an invisible hand. Ben stared at the display. "They can't even touch us." Jack closed his eyes for a moment. His simple salvage job was gone. In its place stood something far larger. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now," the intelligence said, "humanity is no longer alone." Jack opened his eyes and looked at the ancient cruiser, alive once more. He understood then why no one wanted this ship, and why it had waited so long to be found. The alien patrol ship stayed at a distance, confused and cautious. Their weapons were charged, but none of them could get a stable lock on the cruiser. Space around the ancient hull bent and shifted, like light moving through thick glass. Inside the control room, Jack felt the low hum of power grow stronger beneath his boots. Ben stared at the tactical screen. "They're backing off," he said. "Not fast, but enough to show they don't like this." Clara was already working at the console. Data flowed across the screen faster than she could read, yet the system adjusted itself, slowing and translating key parts for her. "The ship is rewriting its own interface," she said. "It's simplifying things, like it wants us to understand." Jack kept his eyes on the projection of the Caretaker Intelligence. "We didn't come here to start a war," he said. "We just wanted salvage." "Acknowledged," the intelligence replied. "Conflict is not required at this time." "Then tell them to leave us alone," Ben said. "External communication channels are open," the intelligence answered. "However, negotiation is unlikely. Current galactic doctrine lists unknown activated relic vessels as extreme threats," Jack sighed. "So they'll keep coming." "Yes," the intelligence said calmly. "Eventually." Inside the cruiser, more systems came online. Corridors lit up beyond the control room. Environmental controls stabilized. Gravity adjusted smoothly. The ship no longer felt dead, it felt awake. Clara pulled up an internal map, her eyes widened. "Jack, this ship is massive. We've only seen a fraction of it. There are sealed sections everywhere, research bays, fabrication decks, and something called the core vault." "What's inside the core vault?" Ben asked. Clara shook her head. "Access denied, even to me." All eyes turned to Jack. "Commander-level access required," the intelligence said. "Authorization available upon confirmation." Jack hesitated. He had never commanded anything bigger than a small crew and an aging salvage ship. "If I accept," he said, "what does that make me?" "It makes you responsible," the intelligence replied. Silence filled the room. The distant hum of the cruiser sounded almost like breathing. Jack nodded slowly. "Confirm authorization." The projection brightened. "Commander access granted." Something shifted deep inside the ship. Clara gasped as new data layers unlocked. Ben felt the deck vibrate again, stronger this time. "Don't worry," the intelligence added. "No weapons are activating." "That's good to hear," Ben muttered. Jack moved to the central platform. As he stepped onto it, a soft light wrapped around him. Information flowed into the surrounding screens, but not into his mind. There were no voices, no forced visions, just clarity. "You are not bonded," the intelligence said. "You are not controlled. You may leave at any time." "Then why does this feel so heavy?" Jack asked. "Because history has weight," it replied. Clara cleared her throat. "Jack, the alien patrols are sending a message." A visual feed appeared. An alien official filled the screen. Its features were sharp and rigid, its uniform marked with symbols of authority. "Unknown human vessel," the alien said, its voice cold. "Power down immediately and prepare for inspection. Failure to comply will be treated as hostile intent." Jack leaned forward. "This is a civilian salvage crew," he said evenly. "We activated an abandoned ship by accident. We are not hostile." The alien paused. "That vessel is not civilian. It matches restricted relic signatures. Human involvement increases threat classification." "Humans are allowed to salvage," Jack replied. "Humans are tolerated," the alien corrected. "Stand down." Before Jack could answer, the cruiser spoke through the channel. "Inspection denied," the intelligence said. "This vessel is under human protection." The alien's eyes widened. "That confirms it," it said. "All units maintain distance and call for reinforcements." The feed cut. Ben exhaled slowly. "Well, that went great." Clara looked worried. "Jack, the ship just did something. It copied their communication encryption and stored it." "For what purpose?" Jack asked. "Learning," the intelligence said. Hours passed. The patrol ship stayed at the edge of the system. More signals appeared on long-range sensors. Word was spreading. Inside the cruiser, Jack and the crew explored cautiously. They moved through wide corridors and vast chambers filled with silent machines. Many systems activated only when Jack entered the room. In one chamber, rows of inactive constructs stood like statues. Clara scanned them and frowned. "These aren't soldiers," she said. "They're observers, data collectors." "Spies?" Ben asked. "Witnesses," the intelligence corrected. "This vessel was designed to understand the galaxy, not rule it." Jack stopped near a viewport that showed the distant stars. "Why hide humanity?" he asked. "Why build something like this and then disappear?" "Because humanity chose patience over dominance," the intelligence replied. "Early expansion showed that younger civilizations fear what they do not understand. Humans chose to step back." "And let others write the rules," Ben said. "Yes," the intelligence answered. "And observe the results." Clara folded her arms. "Those results don't look fair." "Fairness was never guaranteed," the intelligence said. "Survival was." Later, in a secondary command room, Clara accessed historical records. Fragmented images showed early human explorers, small fleets, and diplomatic failures. Meetings that ended in fear. Alliances that collapsed. "They didn't want us," Clara said softly. "So humans walked away." Jack nodded. "But they didn't stop watching." Alarms sounded again. Ben rushed to the console. Incoming ships, a lot more this time. Sensor data filled the screens. Multiple fleets, different species, converging on the system. "They think this is a weapon," Ben said, "or worse." Jack looked at the intelligence. "What happens if they attack?" "The cruiser will defend itself," it replied, "automatically." "Will anyone die?" Jack asked. "That depends on their choices," the intelligence said. Jack clenched his jaw. "I don't want this ship to become a symbol of fear." "Then you must act," the intelligence replied. Jack took a deep breath. "Open all external channels." "Confirmed," the intelligence said. The cruiser broadcast a single message across all frequencies. Jack's voice carried with it. "This ship is human," he said. "It has been here longer than most of your governments. It is not attacking you, but it will not be taken. Stand down and there will be no conflict." Silence followed. Some fleets slowed. Others hesitated. But a few ships moved closer, weapons charging. Before Jack could speak again, space shifted. The cruiser did not fire. Instead, a barrier expanded outward, pushing the advancing ships back gently but firmly. No damage, no explosions, just refusal. Alien commanders shouted orders. Their fleets scattered in confusion. Ben stared in awe. It didn't hurt anyone. "Demonstration complete," the intelligence said. Hours later, most fleets withdrew. A few remained at long range, watching. Inside the cruiser, Jack sat alone in the command chamber. The weight of what had happened pressed on him. Clara joined him quietly. "You handled that well." "I didn't plan to," Jack said. "This ship forces choices." "Maybe it just reveals them," Clara replied. Ben's voice came over the intercom. "Jack, you should see this." In the core vault antechamber, a sealed door now glowed softly. Symbols changed as Jack approached. "Access condition met," the intelligence said. "Continued human presence confirmed." Jack placed his hand on the door. It did not open yet, but it warmed under his palm. "What's inside?" he asked. "The future humanity prepared," the intelligence replied. Jack pulled his hand back slowly. He was not ready yet. Outside, the galaxy watched the silent cruiser with new fear and new questions. Humanity, once dismissed and overlooked, had returned without firing a shot, and this was only the beginning. The days that followed were tense and quiet at the same time. The alien fleets no longer rushed forward, but they did not leave either. They watched from a careful distance, sending probes that stopped the moment the cruiser noticed them. No one wanted to be the first to make a mistake. Inside the ancient ship, life settled into a strange rhythm. Corridors that were once dark now glowed softly. Air moved with a steady flow. The cruiser adjusted itself to human needs without being asked. Food synthesis units activated. Sleeping quarters opened. It felt less like a weapon and more like a shelter. Jack walked the halls often, trying to understand the ship and himself. Every step reminded him that he was standing inside something built with a purpose far greater than salvage. He did not feel powerful. He felt watched, not by the intelligence, but by history. Clara spent most of her time in the data chambers. She worked slowly, carefully, afraid that one wrong command might wake something dangerous. The ship helped her but never rushed her. It answered questions only when asked. Ben trained in the simulation bays. The cruiser created scenarios based on modern galactic fleets. Ben learned quickly that if the ship ever chose violence, no current force could stop it. That knowledge did not comfort him. "This thing could end wars in minutes," Ben said one day, leaning against a console. "It could also start them," Jack replied. "Yeah," Ben said quietly, "that's what scares me." Messages from the wider galaxy increased. Some were threats, others were demands. A few were careful offers of cooperation. None of them trusted humanity anymore. One transmission came from a neutral trade coalition. Their representative spoke with forced calm. "Human commander," the alien said, "your presence has disrupted regional stability. We request dialogue." Jack agreed to the meeting. The discussion took place through holographic projection. Dozens of alien faces appeared, each from a different species. Some looked curious, others looked afraid, a few looked angry. "You activated a forbidden relic," one of them said. "We activated our own ship," Jack replied. "There is no record of humans building something like that," another said. "Because we erased the records," the intelligence added calmly. The room fell silent. Clara watched the data feeds closely. Fear spiked across the communication channels. "Why hide it?" an alien asked. "Why lie to the galaxy?" "Because the galaxy was not ready," the intelligence replied. "And perhaps it still is not." Jack leaned forward. "We're not here to rule," he said. "We just want to be left alone," one alien scoffed. "With a ship like that, you expect us to believe that?" Jack did not answer right away. He chose his words carefully. Power does not always mean intent. Some listened. Others did not. A few days later, the first real test came. Long-range sensors detected a coordinated movement. A coalition fleet, heavily armed, was approaching at full speed. They did not request communication. Ben rushed into the command chamber. "They're serious this time," he said. "Attack formation." Clara's hands trembled over the console. "They're calling this a preemptive strike." Jack felt anger rise in his chest, but he forced it down. "No weapons," he said. "Not unless there is no other choice." "Understood," the intelligence replied. "Defensive protocols only." As the enemy fleet entered range, space itself began to change. Sensors malfunctioned, distances stretched and folded, ships lost formation. Some fired anyway. Energy blasts struck the defensive field and vanished. Not absorbed, not deflected, simply erased. Panic spread through the attacking fleet. Ships collided, commands overlapped. Their own weapons became useless. "They're hurting themselves," Ben said. "They chose to attack," the intelligence replied. Jack clenched his fists. "Stop it," he said. "Don't let them destroy themselves." The cruiser responded instantly. The space distortion eased. The attacking ships drifted, disabled but intact. No one died. Silence returned. Across the galaxy, the message was clear. Humanity did not need to conquer. It only needed to refuse. In the aftermath, opinions shifted. Fear remained, but so did respect. Some governments quietly ordered their fleets to stand down. Others began rewriting policies that had treated humans as minor traders and laborers. Inside the cruiser, Jack stood again before the core vault door. This time it opened. Inside was not a weapon. It was a library, records of lost human colonies, knowledge preserved from before the withdrawal, technologies meant to heal, build, and endure. Clara wept as she read. "They planned for everything," she said, "even being forgotten." Ben looked around in awe. "This isn't a war machine," he said. "It's a backup plan." Jack nodded slowly. "A promise," he said. The intelligence spoke softly. Humanity believed one day it would return, not in anger but in strength. Jack understood then. The cruiser was not the end of the story. It was the bridge between what humanity had been and what it could become. Outside, alien observers watched the silent ship with new understanding. Humanity was no longer a rumor or a footnote. It was a presence, and the galaxy would have to decide how to live with it. The galaxy did not change overnight, but the change had begun. Fleets pulled back from the dead system one by one. Trade routes adjusted. Messages slowed, then softened. Fear was still there, but it was mixed with caution and respect. Inside the cruiser, Jack felt the shift before he saw it on the screens. The constant tension in the air faded. The ship no longer prepared for immediate defense. It watched. Clara continued her work in the library vault. Every day she uncovered more records of humanity's past, old colonies that had chosen isolation, research projects meant to help worlds recover from disasters, plans that were paused, not canceled. "They didn't give up," Clara said one evening. "They just waited." Jack nodded. "Sometimes waiting is the hardest choice." Ben spent less time in the combat bays now. Instead, he worked with navigation systems that mapped safe paths through unstable regions of space. "This ship could save lives," he said, "not just scare people." "That's up to us," Jack replied. The intelligence observed them quietly. It no longer spoke unless spoken to. Its role was guidance, not command. One day, a message arrived that felt different from the rest. It was not a demand or a threat. It was an invitation. An assembly of multiple species requested a formal meeting. Not to inspect the cruiser, but to talk. Jack accepted. The meeting took place through a shared projection space. Representatives appeared one by one. Some were familiar, others were new, all of them were careful. "Human Commander," one of them began, "the presence of your vessel has forced us to confront old assumptions." Jack listened. "Humans were treated as minor participants in galactic affairs," another admitted. "That judgment was based on incomplete information." Jack spoke calmly. "We didn't hide to trick anyone," he said. "We hid to survive." "And now?" an alien asked. "Now we want balance," Jack replied, "not control." There was silence, then slow agreement. No grand alliance was formed. No treaties were signed that day, but something important happened. Humans were no longer excluded from the conversation. When the meeting ended, Clara smiled for the first time in days. "They're afraid," she said, "but they're listening." "That's enough for now," Jack said. Weeks passed. The cruiser moved away from the dead system, slipping quietly into deeper space. It did not hide completely, but it did not announce itself either. It became a constant, distant presence. Jack stood at the viewport as stars drifted by. "Where are we going?" Ben asked. "Somewhere quiet," Jack said. "Somewhere we can think." "The ship can do more," Ben said. "It can rebuild colonies, share tech, change everything." Jack looked at him. "Power used too fast creates fear. Fear creates war." Ben nodded. "So we move slow." "We move human," Jack said. In the following months, small changes spread across the galaxy. Restrictions on human trade were eased. Research partnerships were proposed. Some worlds quietly asked for help recovering from disasters, asking that the cruiser not appear openly. Jack agreed when he could. The ship provided tools, knowledge, and support without revealing its full strength. Clara coordinated aid through secure channels. They're starting to trust us, she said. Not the ship, us. That mattered more than any weapon. One day the intelligence requested a private moment with Jack. Your role is nearing completion, it said. Jack frowned. What do you mean? This vessel was designed to awaken humanity, not lead it, the intelligence replied. Humans must choose their own path. Jack felt a quiet sadness. Are you saying you'll shut down? No, it said. Only that I will step back. Jack accepted that. Humanity had hidden behind machines once before. Could not do so again. In a final broadcast, the cruiser sent a simple message across known space. Humanity is here. We seek peace. We will defend ourselves. We remember who we are. The message carried no threat, no demand. Reactions were mixed, but the galaxy adjusted. On a distant world, a human child looked up at the stars and knew they were no longer alone or forgotten. Inside the cruiser, Jack gathered with Clara and Ben one last time in the central chamber. We did our part, Ben said. We opened the door, Clara added. Jack looked around the ancient ship. And now humanity walks through on its own. The cruiser reduced its active signature and slipped into quiet orbit around a hidden star. It would remain ready but unseen. As Jack left the command platform, the lights dimmed slightly, no longer focused on him. Humanity no longer needed a guardian in the shadows. It had returned to the galaxy not as a conqueror, but as itself.